Lesson 5. Rocket Designs. During the space race between the United States and the Soviet Union, both countries developed various rocket designs to achieve their goals in space exploration. These rocket designs played a crucial role in launching satellites, sending humans into space, and ultimately landing astronauts on the moon. Here are some of the key rocket designs that emerged during the space race. The Vostok, Soviet Union. The Vostok rocket was developed by the Soviet Union and was used to launch the Vostok spacecraft, which carried the first human, Yuri Gagarin, into space in 1961. The Vostok rocket was a single-use vehicle that consisted of several stages, with the final stage carrying the spacecraft into orbit. Mercury Redstone, United States. The Mercury Redstone rocket was developed by the United States as part of the Mercury program, which aimed to send astronauts into space. The Redstone rocket was a modified ballistic missile, and it was used to launch the Mercury spacecraft with a single astronaut on board. The Mercury Redstone rocket successfully launched the first American astronaut, Alan Shepard, into space in 1961. The Atlas, United States. The Atlas rocket was a family of rockets developed by the United States and used for various space missions. It was the first American intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, and was later adapted for space exploration. The Atlas rocket was used to launch the Mercury Atlas missions, which carried astronauts into orbit during the Mercury program. Saturn, United States. The Saturn rocket family was developed by the United States and played a crucial role in the Apollo program, which aimed to land astronauts on the moon. The Saturn V rocket was the most powerful rocket ever built, was used to launch the Apollo spacecraft and lunar module. It consisted of 3 stages and successfully carried astronauts to the moon, including the historic Apollo 11 mission in 1969. The Soyuz, Soviet Union, Russia. The Soyuz rocket is a family of rockets developed by the Soviet Union and later continued by Russia. It's been used for various space missions, including crewed missions to the International Space Station, the ISS. The Soyuz rocket is a reliable and versatile design that's been in use since the 1960s and continues to be a primary means of transporting astronauts to and from the ISS. These are just a few examples of the rocket designs that emerged during the space race. Both the United States and the Soviet Union invested heavily in research and development to improve rocket technology, leading to advancements that paved the way for future space exploration. The rocket designs developed during the space race laid the foundation for rockets and spacecraft used in modern space missions. Vostok. The Vostok rocket was a series of space launch vehicles developed by the Soviet Union in the 1960s. It played a crucial role in the early years of the Soviet space program and was responsible for launching the first manned spaceflight in history. The Vostok rocket was primarily designed to launch the Vostok spacecraft, which carried a single cosmonaut into orbit. The development of the Vostok rocket was led by Sergei Korolev, the chief designer of the Soviet space program. The Vostok rocket had a 2-stage design. The first stage, known as the Vostok 2, was powered by a 4-chambered RD-107 rocket engine. It used a combination of liquid oxygen and kerosene as propellants. The second stage, known as the Vostok 3, was powered by a single-chambered RD-108 engine, also using liquid oxygen and kerosene. The Vostok rocket stood approximately 38 metres tall and had a diameter of 2.4 metres. It had a lift-off mass of around 280 tonnes and was capable of delivering the Vostok spacecraft, weighing about 4.7 tonnes, into a low Earth orbit. The Vostok spacecraft was launched by the Vostok rocket, consisted of 2 main sections, the orbital module and the descendant module. The orbital module provided living space for the cosmonaut during the mission, while the descendant module housed the cosmonaut during launch, re-entry and landing. The Vostok rocket made history on April 12, 1961, when it successfully launched the Vostok 1 spacecraft carrying Yuri Gagarin, who became the first human to orbit the Earth. In addition to manned missions, the Vostok rocket was also used for launching unmanned satellites and scientific payloads. It played a significant role in early exploration of space by the Soviet Union and contributed to advancements in space technology and human spaceflight. The Vostok rocket was eventually succeeded by more advanced launch vehicles, such as the Vostok and the Soyuz rockets, which facilitated longer duration missions and enabled the Soviet Union to achieve further milestones in space exploration. Saturn V. The Saturn V is a type of expendable rocket that was used by NASA during the Apollo program to send astronauts to the moon. It's one of the most powerful rockets ever built and remains the tallest, heaviest and most powerful rocket to have been successfully flown. The development of the Saturn V began in the early 1960s as part of NASA's efforts to achieve President John F. Kennedy's goal of landing humans on the moon. The rocket was designed to carry the Apollo spacecraft, which consisted of the command module, service module and lunar module. The Saturn V was a three-stage rocket, with each stage using liquid propellants. The first stage, known as the SIC, was powered by 5 F1 engines and provided the initial thrusts to lift the rocket off the ground. The second stage, known as the SII, was powered by 5 J2 engines and continued to propel the rocket into space. The third stage, known as the SIVB, was powered by a single J2 engine and was responsible for inserting the Apollo spacecraft into Earth orbit and later for sending it to the moon. The Saturn V made its first flight, designated Apollo 4, on November 9, 1967, as an unmanned test flight. The first manned mission to use the Saturn V was Apollo 8, which orbited the moon on December 1968. The most famous mission of the Saturn V was the Apollo 11, which successfully landed the first humans on the moon on July 20, 1969. The Saturn V was also used for subsequent Apollo missions, including Apollo 12 through 17. In total, 13 Saturn V rockets were launched, with all of them achieving their intended missions. The Saturn V and the Apollo program as a whole represented a major milestone in human space exploration. The successful lunar landings made possible by the Saturn V demonstrated the capabilities of human spaceflight and expanded our understanding of the moon and the universe. The Saturn V and the Apollo program continue to inspire future generations of scientists, engineers and astronauts. The Saturn V stands as a testament to human ingenuity and the determination to explore the unknown. Its impressive capabilities and historic achievements have solidified its place in the annals of space exploration. The Soyuz. The Soyuz rocket is a family of space launch vehicles developed by the Soviet Union and currently operated by Russia. It is one of the most reliable and widely used rocket systems in the world, with a long history of successful launches and numerous accomplishments in human spaceflight. The Soyuz rocket was first introduced in the 1960s as part of the Soviet Union's manned space program. It was specifically designed to launch the Soyuz spacecraft, which carries cosmonauts to and from the International Space Station, the ISS, and other destinations in space. The Soyuz rocket has a three-stage design. The first stage, known as the Soyuz 2.1A, is powered by 4 strap-on boosters and a central core stage. These boosters and core stage use kerosene and liquid oxygen as propellants. The boosters are jettisoned shortly after liftoff, while the core stage continues to propel the rocket into space. The second stage, called the Soyuz 2.1A core stage, also uses kerosene and liquid oxygen as propellants. It provides additional thrust to continue the ascent of the rocket. The third stage, known as the Soyuz 2.1A upper stage, uses a combination of unsymmetrical dimethylhydrazine UDMH and nitrogen tetroxide N2O4 as propellants. It is responsible for placing the Soyuz spacecraft into its intended orbit. The Soyuz rocket stands approximately 46 metres tall and has a diameter of 2.95 metres, has a liftoff of around 312 tonnes, and is capable of delivering payloads of up to 7,020 kilograms to low Earth orbit. The Soyuz rocket has a remarkable track record of reliability and safety. It's been used for numerous manned missions, including ferrying cosmonauts to and from the ISS. It's also been utilised for launching satellites, scientific payloads and interplanetary probes. One of the most notable achievements of the Soyuz rocket is its role in its continuous human presence aboard the ISS since November 2000. The Soyuz spacecraft, launched by the Soyuz rocket, serves as a primary crew vehicle for transporting astronauts to and from the space station. It has ensured a reliable means of transportation for international astronauts and cosmonauts for over 2 decades. The Soyuz rocket and spacecraft have undergone several upgrades and modifications over the years to improve performance, safety and capabilities. These advancements have allowed for extended mission durations, increased payload capacity and enhanced re-entry and landing capabilities.